Okay, I had 6. All right, I would like to have someone make a motion in the second to amend the agenda. There is an item or two to be left off. It's nothing big, but somebody do that one.
Well, first you have to say, well, how you want it, trying to get a motion.
I excluded a gentleman who we would like to appoint to as a board of aldermen or board of adjustment alternate. His name is Rick Viduka. He lives in Kurzville Estates, and I ran into him at the Meet the Mayor event, and he was very interested in participating with city government. So I asked him if he would care to fill a vacancy, and he said yes. So I would like a motion in the second to amend the agenda to vote on this. I believe so.
Would that be adding even like 9D?
Yes, thank you. Item 9D, new board members. So
I move that we accept the amended agenda.
second,
Second.
ayes, nays,
Aye.
passes, good, great, thank you. Do we have a motion and a second to accept the minutes as posted?
I have a question. I would have a correction, whether, where it says that I declined to be on a committee for, the headshots of the aldermen,
Where?
and number 7 under mayor reports. I declined because I did not think that it was necessary to do this.
Okay, well, we can amend the minutes according. Andrea, can you take a note of that? Yes, thank you. Motion and a second to accept the minutes as amended.
I make the motion.
Second,
I'll second it.
on favor, say aye.
Aye.
Passed and accepted. Any remarks or comments from anyone here? And really see anyone? Okay. Reports. Clarkson County Police Activity. Chris?
Thank you, Mayor. For the month of April, we had 178 radio assignments and self-initiated assignments by the officers. We had 3 incidents that required police reports. We had 9 alarms, all of those were false. We had 1 open door club in the middle of the night, and then we also had open garage doors, 26 of them still. So we're trying to stay diligent on those and make sure that we're notified people to close those garage doors. We had 19 moving violation tickets that were issued with 8 non-moving violations. And then we had 65 warnings that were issued month of April for a total of 92 total traffic enforcement actions. There were no arrests this month. There was an open door also at, insecure door at 2997 Clarkson. That was the Jackson product that was found by Officer Department 405 Border protection was served on a resident on Thursdale. This is something that we've dealt with many, many times. Changed a little bit of the approach here. It used to be mental health warrants that we were issued. Now it's only warrants of protection. And we're just trying a little bit different way of handling things. We Clarkson Valley officers and volunteers in policing last Saturday staffed the spring session of the DEA drug take back event. And we collected 24 pounds of prescription drugs for destruction. Will be taken down to the late disposed of. And then we had a student at Marquette that had some suicidal ideations, and they were transported to Mercer for evaluation. That's it for this month. I see. Thank you.
I don't know. I got a question. Oh, you did, okay. So in your email, the weekly report you sent on April 30th, you mentioned an increasing sinkhole on Perworth and Forest Club. What's the status of that? Oh, you're looking at that later. Oh. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Doc.
My update, I had some social opportunities to interact with some of the residents. I attended the Clarkson Farms HOA meeting out at the theirs was at the ice rink. And it was very nice. I haven't been to the ice rink since Steve stopped playing hockey, so that's been a while, and it's quite a facility. I also attended the stroll gathering at the same location, and had a great chance to meet some of the neighbors and vendors who participate in advertising the stroll. Went to the St. Louis West County Commerce meeting out at the hotel in Wildwood, and actually had a great opportunity to sit down with a neighbor that I had a meeting with later in the day who had some serious concerns about building issues. And it really facilitated the labor meeting, so smooth things out quite a bit. It was very, very nice. Brings me to something else that I might address later that I didn't put on there, but it's small. Jeff, you and I and Chris, you and your officers, and Andrew have all been invited to the Kerrs Wood annual picnic. I think you went last year. And did I send you a note on that yet?
Yes, you did.
Oh, all right, so just let me or them know if you guys are gonna be able to attend.
Sure.
And we met with the ICARE Partners building staff, and I will address that a little further down. So it was a very successful meeting, it was very pleasant. I'm real happy with it. So anyway, status reports. Honora, you want to start out?
I have nothing to report.
Lynn?
The only thing I received information from Crane Agency on professional liability insurance. Didn't get it to the office in time, get it on the agenda, we can have it next month.
Okay. Great. Brock?
Nothing aside from an update on the cyber training research that I did to last month. I've gotten 4 quotes from different vendors. They're all pretty unique in their scale and scope, and frankly, difficulty in terms of the course material. So I'm still reviewing that. One of them is a free course. I actually thought it seemed reasonable for our needs, but I just want to have a look at least 2 together offerings before I recommend something next month.
Cool. Jeff? Greg?
Okay, on the sinkhole on Berworth Drive, it's not actually a sinkhole in the geological sense. I took a look at it yesterday and I determined that it's probably water running at the street, right in the street. Contacted the president of the trustees out of town. She said that she would be trying to get MSD to take a look at it. So I called MSD yesterday. And they sent a crew out today. To confirm with the dye test that it was their storm sewer pipe. That they cracked it. Was leaking during heavy rains today, so just caused a problem. So they repaired that crack today while I was there. It's an interesting process to watch. Then they're gonna send a different crew back to repair the street. And I said, how long would that take? So typically, about 30 days, something, it's just 3 months in the street. Well, I'll talk to them, see what. I'll stay on top of that.
Okay, next. Unfinished business. We have top on the menu is, section 215.
I'm fine.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm fine, it's okay.
It's just right here, it's city attorney report. Do you have any?
Right? More quiet I am, the better.
I've never heard attorneys say that to me.
It's a good thing you're trained quiet, that's good.
Unfinished business, discuss section 215.010 enumeration acts declared to be a nuisance regarding lights used during the holiday. Couple of things here. One, I don't remember whether it was prior to the last month's meeting or since then. I did attend the Wildwood monthly meeting. And I am very wary of getting into this holiday lighting issue. Channel 2 and Channel 4 media coverage were both there. It was a circus. I want to stay as far away from involving that as possible. There was a lot of religious conversation, a lot of disrespect mentioned by people of different ethnic groups who choose to light up their symbolize their countries, specifically Ukraine. Just throwing it out there, so I need a motion to discuss if you wish and or table until next month. One second,
I didn't know this.
I motion to be table this.
okay, second, all in favor? Great. Depository policy discussion. This would probably be something we also need to table until next month. I need a motion and a second to discuss if you wish. Or simply table to.
I make a motion to table it.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. Okay. Building permit fee discussion. Yeah, Greg and Jeff have been deep in the weeds on this. I'm Brock, sorry. Jeff, you weren't involved in this.
No, I would
No, not in this one. Okay, no, sorry. Brad has some thoughts. I don't know how deep we want to get into this because at this point, at this meeting, at this point, there are other ordinances. If you would do adopt whatever it is that Greg and Brock have come up with at this point, we will need to repeal other ordinances, and I don't know if we're prepared to do that. So, any thoughts? Discuss?
Patrick, what about that?
You guys can discuss your thoughts, we circulated the draft of the ordinance, but there's 3 other ordinances that need to be enacted at the same time. The repeal, like the feed and fence code, and when you haven't all prepared first time this came around, but due to the, how trying to get everything together tonight and last minute notice, they're not part of the agenda. But certainly, if you guys want to discuss your analysis compared to other analysis, totally up to the board. Or you can table it to next.
So, just generally speaking, Greg and I, after we looked at some information that Brad and Michelle provided us about time and cost of effecting one of these permits. We came to the conclusion through some analysis of the permits we issued last year that if we were to go with something like $6.50 per $1,000 of value, the way we discussed previously. The city would actually be taking a loss on those permits 2/3 of the time. So we realized that as we thought our fees have to go up. But the general concept was that we want to cover our costs, but not much more than that. To avoid effectively taxing those who can afford more lavish projects than others. So we came up with $435 as a fixed permit fee that would cover vast majority of the projects that the city affected last year. So 2023 was a good example of projects we see in the future. For point of comparison, if we had this structure during 2023, we would have collected 62% more permit fees than we actually did. So our loss in the building department and mitigated and then some.
I was just questioning, probably it needs to be written as an ordinance and then be those 3 ordinances that we were going to get rid of to go along with this. That it can be tabled till next meeting, is that okay?
Yes, there is, that first ordinance is part of this package.
You have the prior. And then-
Oh, that was prior.
You know,
Okay.
We don't have this ordinance. Well,
It's in my mind.
Yeah, you have the, one that was introduced. And
January.
and then their version, they did. That's about that, it should be behind it. So,
Oh, of the ordinance, okay.
but then still have the other 3 in there, you probably just.
Oh, okay.
I guess I didn't, this be like, correctly. Correct.
I want to address very briefly, Brock mentioned, the 435 is a little bit higher than what our actual costs are. We did that so that we have time, hopefully years, before we have to revisit this issue again. So it's 3 points in the structure of the fee where we are charging more than the city actually needs. One is, the cost that we got read include 4 inspections. Some projects don't have 4 inspections. Some projects that run 4 inspections. Probably $240 for the inspections. This is more typical, but not a lot. Second one, Michelle estimated her time and Andrew's time to process the incoming applications. Cost the city about $83. We round that up to 100, and then she said we should add costs for IT utilities less than local overhead addition. So we looked into that. Typical overhead is 25 to 40%, which is 35%. That's on the high end. Yeah, the way we were rounding up. Came up with $135 for office expenses.
Did Michelle estimate, what, 2 hours a time?
I have that here.
Anywhere from, what do you have, about 2.5 to 3 hours?
Yeah.
The big, and Brad gave us a good example for someone doing like a knockdown, tear down, that would be closer to 4 hours. Yeah, Michelle's time and about 9 hours, Brad's. Those are pretty rare, but that would be one where the 435 wouldn't cover the costs.
Right. Well, a knockdown and rebuild 2 things.
Well, would we charge? Oh, we will, okay, so yeah. Almost exactly.
So one of the questions I had was, okay, so, and I mentioned this to Rob the other night, so someone has a project whereby they wish to redo their landscape in front of their house, and they have a retaining wall that exceeds the maximum allowable limit without getting a permit, and some steps, so, but they can't afford to do them all simultaneously, they have to stage this, and let's face it, we did a lot of that, we had 2 kids in private school, 1 income and big plans, but couldn't do it all at once, so those people would have to do 2 permits to complete their project. Because as I recall, Brock, you said, well, maybe to plan better, do it all at once,
Well,
but
it's an opportunity to plan if they can. Maybe put the project off until like people, and this. And to that effect, like 90% of our projects are valued at over $7,000. So these tiny projects where the permit fees are quite high relative to the cost of the project would be exceeding. You know, only maybe 10 or fewer a year that we would do that would be that small. So
well, I think
we're
more
covering
than,
90% of our bases.
I think the project that, I met with the gentleman last week. From Forest Hills that I ran into at the, meeting at Wildwood Hotel was, he would be paying that $435 and it would be a substantial amount of the project, and so the biggest project was that expensive. But I think you're charging the little guys there to pay some of the big guys.
So like, you think like 50% of the project's cost would be from that? $1,000 or something.
I think it would be a little less in percentage wise, but I think it would be disproportionately large relative to the overall cost of the project. And I just, to your point, Nora, I hate to see, you know, the people who are paying for inexpensive materials pay a low price, and then someone who's paying for expensive materials pay that much more substantial price. But if you charge a flat fee of $435, you're gonna have a lot of that. And you mentioned a 62.3% higher. How did you, what was the fee that we charged last year?
The total was 20,360.
Okay, so, and that was based on 76 projects?
Shown by this.
Okay. So how would that impact? What would happen with projects like Mercy that is undergoing a substantial amount of expenditure redoing their stuff? Brad, I don't know the extent, can you answer that?
Yeah, Mercy is doing $1 million project right now. They've got another one under review for 300,000. Each one of those is gonna use every bit of 10 to 15 inspections. Not sure how this plan would address that. And, you know, I'm just glad we're gonna get more revenue. Progress is good.
My concern is we have Rockwood, we have Mercy, we have the Sonic Temple. I don't anticipate having huge expenses in renovation, but you never know. Et cetera. I hate to see those projects bear the brunt of the smaller projects bear the brunt of costs that those folks get a couple of $435 permits and they get $1 million worth of work done. And how many inspections would be necessary, and how are those costs covered?
No, that's a really valid point. Although a multi-million-dollar medical renovation in our city, I don't think comes around even every 5 years probably.
$multi-million, no, probably
Well, we
not.
only have one medical facility, so I'm surprised they're doing it for just $1 million. I told you it's gonna be 10 million. Surprised.
They do have building renovations and spatial renovations, and that would be $435 permit.
Oh, okay, residential projects that go over $1 million.
Yeah,
We didn't have it last year.
Well, we had one in what, January?
Yeah, we just had one.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then a second one,
2023. That's
a second one followed pretty closely, didn't it?
Yeah.
So unfortunately, costs and prices are going up, and one way or the other, I just don't wanna see this losing money on this or not being able to cover our costs. And covering costs would include admin time and staff time, and I'm not certain that, Andrea, you can address that. Would 2 hours of time cover building a permit, filing phone calls,
Yeah, probably.
paperwork?
They're all different, you know, you'd have to take an average, because you have some that are just, you know, very small and takes just a minute. And there are some that are larger. And we also have building permits that come in, and I have to do all the paperwork for a fee. So we have, you know, they just vary in size. But it's a quick process, I think we got it down.
Rob, did you put an average of the 76 projects? Median,
The median was 35,000. So we're talking probably kitchen and bath renovations being the vast majority of projects. Patio, and patio of some sort, yeah, like something traditional residential, you might say.
I did read the proposal and I had a list of questions that I sent to you guys and not had answers back yet, so I'm really not ready to comment on the proposal until I get some more feedback.
And Brock, I had asked both you and Greg to work with Fred on this because he's got a lot of expertise and experience in it. He could offer some very valuable input, so I would ask again that you include him in discussions going forward. So, at this point, I would say maybe table this until next month again. So we can repeal the other ordinances that are necessary, et cetera.
I had, because we needed to get rid of the other ones also. And make this into, I didn't realize it was written as an ordinance already. So that's why I made the motion that we do it all at the same time.
This month or table it till
Then
next
we can
month?
table it till next month. I don't think we'll lose that much money.
So your motion,
Yes.
second,
second.
all in favor? Motion's passed. Okay, code contradiction regarding gate latches on pool fences. It would be my recommendation to adopt the state stuff to adopt compliance or become compliant with state statutes. Right now, we're not, and I think we should be the same as the state statutes, which is, I believe, Jeff, you know, maybe a 52-inch, say 52-inch line. 54.
It's a state or different.
I think it's international law.
It's both, yeah. It's a state code, but it's part of the international code, right?
Actually, Missouri is the only state in the country that does not have a building code. But the international code does address the 54 inches.
And that's what St. Louis County uses.
That's correct.
So we just trying to be consistent with St. Louis County and the international code. Okay.
I make a motion that we make it match the international code. And I guess it'll have to be written as an ordinance, but we do have it.
You know,
Missing the ordinances.
No, jump straight to the gun.
No, we don't have it as an ordinance. So why don't it be written as an ordinance so we can pass it next time? And you'll have to take it out of the ones where it is not correct.
Okay, sounds good. Motion in the second. You got a second?
One second, I'll second.
All in favor? Passes. Bill number 0544, adopting ordinance for 2023 annual statutory update. This is pretty much a road deal. It's just something that we have to go and we'll pass. So is there a motion and a second to accept?
I make the motion, we accept it. Patrick, did you have a chance to look at them? That was my question last month.
I went through it and looked at it. This is all from our codification company, is updating area of August 28th, Missouri. Any statute passed for the legislative session that adjourns in May of each year becomes law August 28th. So this is their update of last year's changes to the Missouri law. For our ordinances up to code system of changes for state law.
And they aren't anything that affects ours, okay? That would be.
But it's only being consistent by changes to the law. That's part of the service that we pay for now. They have to do this one.
I didn't see any but problems, but I didn't know if you did. Okay, I make a motion to approve it.
Second,
Second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Passes. Excellent, thank you. Code of conduct discussion.
Yeah, the ordinance. So, I think we read I think we're supposed to read that by short title prior to passage. This is an ordinance,
Oh, I'm sorry.
so, yeah, ordinance adopted because they're gonna apply with years. You know, this one's read it once, and by short, twice by short title.
That's the last year. Stack.
Oh, there it is. Okay, so. An ordinance adopting and enacting a new code of ordinances in the city of Clarkson Valley, county of St. Louis, state of Missouri, establishing the same. Providing for the repeal of certain ordinances not included therein. Except as herein expressly provided, providing for the manner of amending such code of ordinances. Providing penalty for the violation thereof and providing when this ordinance shall become effective. First reading,
First reading.
second reading. An ordinance adopting and enacting a new code of ordinances of the city of Clarkson Valley, county of St. Louis, state of Missouri. Establishing the same, providing for the repeal of certain ordinances not included therein, except as herein expressly provided, providing for the manner of amending such code of ordinances. Providing penalty for the violation thereof and providing when this ordinance shall become effective. Motion to discuss and or vote, please.
I make a motion to approve it.
Second,
I'll say.
this is a roll call.
Roll call.
Yes, please. Andrew, can you call the roll, please?
Lenore Schuler,
Yes.
then Nanette.
Yeah.
Brock McDonald,
Yes.
Jeff Schweik,
Yes.
Greg Bogosian.
Yes.
Ordinance passes, thank you. Thank you. Okay. Next is the discussion of a code of conduct. Who wants to start off? Whose idea was this? Might I ask?
Yeah, this came out of the human personnel committee or human resource committee, whatever, I don't know, we changed the name of it, but Greg, Jeff, and Len was discussed. And brought up at the last meeting. This is put together as a rough draft. Amended, expanded, many cities have a code of conduct, many are much more detailed. This is designed to be starting point, something in writing if you want to go any further or not go further.
I guess my question would be, Missouri state statutes address this, it pertains to codes of conduct. That include all elected officials, not just a mayor or board of aldermen, so. Is this really necessary? Missouri's got a pretty succinct code.
I think in this last year, we see that it is necessary. And I wanted to add another comment, is the fact that if someone sees something that someone has not done. For example, a clerk forgets to schedule a meeting, send out a meeting to all the residents. That clerk is the only one that needs to be notified. The whole board does not need to be notified that the clerk made a mistake. That's just an example. When someone makes a mistake, you talk to that person individually. You don't notify the whole board that someone made a mistake. You discuss it with the person. That is my comment. And I think that should be added to the code of conduct.
Okay, anybody else? Any other comments?
I've read it, I don't have any objections to the content of it.
I was gonna say the same thing, I read it, I think it does. Good thing, bad.
I have a question about a couple of things. We are now going to require that we all address each other as Mr. or Ms. Do we really feel that's necessary?
I have a problem with that also. I don't think it's necessary in our informal meetings. I mean, our meetings are not that serious. You know what I mean? No, I don't think you need to. I think we can address people by their first names.
Other question is, as far as the Board of Aldermen versus the principles and guidelines, et cetera, and the similar list addressing the mayor, I question why there is separation between, or distinction between those two, other than duties and roles. Because it would seem that all of these things would apply to both the mayor and the Board of Aldermen. So I'm not sure what the purpose here is.
More detail, like for instance. The same language should be applied to mayor as applied to any member of the board. I guess, but this is on the other, the mayor has certain greater supervisory and can act alone in representation of the city. But a member of the board cannot individually represent the city. So I guess we've worked out the detailed language if they want to go forward. And yeah, it includes it.
It's right before the audit.
Yeah. A question on example 2, overview of rules and responsibilities. How could I, as mayor, refuse to allow a matter to be voted on if it's been made motion in the second?
But a rule of procedure, you are the chairman of the meeting. And you can run the meeting if you don't run it like heavy handed, but the chair could refuse to recognize or not allow someone to speak.
Okay,
You can just adjourn the meeting. It's chairman. You can try. I mean, this is examples. I mean,
so
the idea was, this is the other, anyone who has criticism or comments or contributions, y'all work it out and bring it back. If you want to bring it back.
I still think all these are statements that apply to everyone. I just don't understand the distinction or separation of one versus the other. Remember at all times that as an individual, he or she has no legal authority outside the meetings. Shall represent the city faithfully and act in a manner demonstrating integrity. What's the difference there between that and a mayor that says shall demonstrate honesty and integrity in every action statement? That doesn't apply to the Board of Aldermen.
Should have similar language.
I just don't understand why this can't be overviews of rules and responsibilities for everyone.
Well, the first part has under mayor that you can veto ordinances, et cetera. So it has more things in it than what the alderman can do.
Right, those are duties and roles, I understand that. But, I don't understand. Recognize all electronic transmittals sent or received are subject to sunset law, it's the same thing. That is, Board of Aldermen recognizes all electronic transmittals sent or received. There are so many things here that are applicable to all of us. That I don't understand the necessity of separating these rules to apply to one versus the other. It seems redundant and unnecessary.
Well, a lot of times you can ask for a committee to go work on this, bring something back. Go down, so maybe. And I'm also joining the committee that work on this.
I think that would be a good idea. Would you all like to form a committee to see if you can merge these or to be more fluid or more applicable to everyone? Any volunteers? Crickets?
I guess is your objection that you have a separate set of rules specific to you as one individual?
My objection is I don't understand why there are separate rules for two elected officials, which they don't, makes no sense. Why one set of rules applies to one group or individual and the other set of rules applies to the other group or individual, but essentially they're the same. They're requiring integrity and honesty, etc. And why would that not be?
Would this be,
applicable to two?
would this be something that could be addressed by having a smaller section for things that apply immediately to the mayor? Another section is that apply immediately to board members, and then a larger section that applies to all.
Well, I
Yeah,
think,
go by that way.
yeah, I think that's what I'm talking about. All these things are equally applicable to all of us. With the exception of a few things that I do as mayor, to Pat's point, I have the ability to dismiss a meeting, I guess, or
Future meeting,
veto,
supervise employees, you
etc.
can
But
represent, as an individual, make representation to the public as mayor.
but shall extend respect, kindness, consideration, and courtesy. The Board of Aldermen doesn't have to do that. Why would that be separate under the mayor and not under the Board of Aldermen?
For example,
Pardon me?
what was the example?
It's actually under the second thing under the Board of Aldermen also.
Okay,
So
well,
it's there.
yeah, so then I would
Well,
say,
you know, if it's just a Board of Aldermen, they could read this and they would know what's expected of them if they're a new alderman.
but I think, again, these are basic premises that are applicable to all of us as individual, elected individuals. Other than the specific guidelines or rules pertaining to one role or the other. I just think it's unnecessary, it's redundant, and I think we'd be better served to blend all of this in one document.
I'd be willing to already working on some other policies and stuff that I'm going to work on condensing this into something that maybe just flows better.
There was a case in point, I don't know if I have it, there was a code of conduct presented from by a small city. I think it's a few thousand people, called Carl Junction. And they wrote actually a very succinct, very clear set of code of conduct. And I think we'd be well served to adopt something similar to that, rather than try and reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, there's many cities that have code of conduct, but Broad, you want to go with that, and Brentwood has one.
Brentwood has one.
Chesterfield has kind of like code for everybody. I don't know how far down you want to go down the rabbit hole. It's not that far.
But I can go in to look at some, I mean, but I think what we have here would be useful, even in its current.
And to your point, Nora, it's not like, you know, Ms. Schiller, would you care to make a motion? I don't think, you know, we're not that kind of a group.
Right, we don't need to say that, no, that's not part,
We're,
but,
we're us, we're parts of now, we are not this, you know, St. Louis County Council, my gosh. We're not the city of St. Louis, and I don't even know how they conduct their meetings, but, you know, there's a point where I think you become top heavy. Perhaps, so. And if you guys wanna do something like this, I would like to see it a lot more homogenized for all of us. So,
So we want to work on it, also willing to take a partner. But I think it's interesting.
I also wanna make a comment to people who are working on it, is the fact that if someone has a problem with someone. Like an alderman has a problem with another alderman, has a problem with the mayor, or whoever, you talk to them individually, you don't have to send it to the. You know, if it's something that can't be settled between the two, then it can be brought to the whole group, but we don't need to send emails out to everyone that you have a complaint with someone.
and I think you've already mentioned. Thank you for restating.
Well, I said about a task, but also sometimes it's just a disagreement with someone.
Work in some principles of conflict resolution or something like that. Nothing too bad.
It's better to talk to the individual rather than everybody. To let everyone know what you're talking about.
Okay, so. I guess the point being there, we are. Brock, you're gonna start a committee? I guess,
It needs to be in committee format, I'm sure, but so far it's just me. I'm also happy going without committee back.
it's up to you.
I don't personally get a big committee. You always bring it back to a working session. We're gonna have one of those in the future, supervisions. But have working sessions.
Okay, all right. Moving right along, new business, ECP lease agreement and space allowance. Brad, Michelle and I have met with the eye care partners and regarding this small space that we'd like to move into and modify. One thing I'm sure if you've all, any of you been in the office, you'll notice that the outer door is now permanently locked. And there's a note tacked to the door that requires people to call and state their business before they are allowed entrance or access to the office. This is a result of an incident that Andrea experienced shortly after our last meeting. In spite of the fact that we do live in Clarkson Valley, which is a very nice municipality, we are also bounded by a state highway, a county and two county arterial roads. And we are not limited to, those roads are not limited to Clarkson Valley access or residents. And let's face it, in today's day and age, you get drugs, alcohol, etc. Can be unpleasant. So this gentleman came through the door and got in Andrea's face, came around the counter. And since then, I've gone out and purchased pepper spray for both desks with a belt clip on it, so it's something that they can clip on their belt or their pants or their skirt and carry around with them. But because of that, I think it really illustrates the need for us to make that office more secure when anyone is in this building outside of normal business hours, and even during that time, there's not a whole lot of pedestrian traffic in and out of the building, it's quiet. So we met with the folks, the building management people. Told them what we wanted to do to move into that small space next to them. They were very agreeable to that. They asked for a lease agreement, which we obviously didn't have, haven't had one for a number of years. When they did finally meet with us, they agreed that they would draw up a new lease, which would include some rent, but we are also, we're also arranging for $500 a year in the premium for renters insurance, which we've never had. Which will allow for any damages to equipment, machinery, etc. That renters insurance decreases the rental cost, ironically, for our copier. And the lease agreement that ECP is offering us amounts to the grand sum of $1 a month. So the discount as a result of the renter's insurance for the copier lease plus the $12 a month lease fee means that on an aggregate total, we will increase our expenditures with that new space for $35 a year. I think we can afford to do that. The Brad has drawn up several plans. Are they in here?
No, I didn't include those.
Okay, sorry. We have some good plans. It's basically modifying our current space. Not really at all structurally. We're just moving file cabinets around and purchase a couple of small pieces of furniture. I think a conference table to go in there. And the majority of any structural modification would be in the new room. We would make this all ADA compliant because we are not ADA compliant at this time. And we would put in a bulletproof glass with a tray, slide through tray where people who come in can access, provide that material easily without immediate proximity to whoever's in the office. We would also install a second door out of the side entrance, which would exit out into the hall, and I do have some extra layouts here. It would exit out onto the hall, which would provide a secondary exit point in the event that something occurs, a fire, or someone gains access to the office. It's kind of hard to see on these.
Are these the same designs we talked about? So we move forward with last one?
Yep.
Can you discuss them again, since we're already okay?
No, I just passed around for show and tell. Don't wanna see them, don't wanna see them. So the only structural modifications here would be, as you can see where it says city administrator, there's a door there on the left that would now access the hall, providing a secondary exit in the event that someone needs it, or an entrance to the office that's not through the front door. The dotted line in the current space, there's a little thing there, it says metal detector. We're not gonna do a metal. But the little dotted line swing there is a door that is our current access point. And the door to the left with the big dotted circle, the circle indicates the ADA space necessary to turn a wheelchair. So that provides enough access space. There's a very faint green line just on the other side of that circle right here. Along here. This would be the bulletproof glass and slide through tray. And Brock had a good idea about utilizing some of that on this side, space that you currently occupy. But that would require that this bulletproof material be twice as long, twice as wide. And not only is it gonna be twice as expensive because the reinforced wall, drywall is expensive and glass is obviously expensive. But I don't know that we would require some structural support modification underneath because it's heavy. So the folks that came through were very happy with what we showed them. And we're delighted that we were interested in staying. We have a couple, three different layouts here. They all basically evolve around the same modification, structural modification. So it's whether you want to put a chair here or a chair there. But at this point, we're looking at putting out some feelers for contractors who would be interested in putting a bid on this. So I want to know if you'd like to make a motion to second to discuss and vote on putting this out for bids.
So I have a question.
Yes.
By the city assistant, you have an 8 foot by 1.5 inch. What is that?
That is again, this is the position of where we walk down the hall.
Right.
Okay, so this 8.5 feet is the distance from essentially from the drywall. If you can see this, again, it's hard to see the double line, the green line there.
Yes.
That's the window area. But the wall itself below that and above that would be reinforced drywall. And that would extend to this wall on the left. So it's 8.5 feet from that point to the back wall there of that city assistant office space.
This is not. So these double things here is not where
For the layouts were. They're pretty much the same, it's just a matter of where we want to put it.
I'm sorry, what's the question? You asked for a motion.
I am asking for a motion to discuss and vote on whether we want to seek some bids on making these modifications with preparation to move into the space. And put in the kind of material that would provide better protection for whoever is in the office, especially in off hours. Here, Nora, this might be a little,
oh, I understood. Brad makes point to.
that's a little.
The other question is, should we wait to make sure they don't change their mind on the lease? That we get a copy of the lease first?
Oh, I don't think they'll change their mind, but yeah, we'll be getting a lease forthcoming, but still, we can send out for some, we can ask for some interest.
My other question is, the city administrator, if the city assistant isn't there, I guess she moves over to the city desk so she knows what's going on, or?
Well, one of the things we talked about, it's not detailed on any of these drawings, was the possibility of putting a window space in between the two offices, so that there is some visual clear opportunity. If the city administrator is in one office and city clerk is not there, he or she can see through to that front area. This would require no HVAC alteration, no lighting alteration. Maybe some new carpet and paint. And any furniture we chose to purchase, like a conference table. Brock had an idea of putting the conference table in the new space. But we talked about the HVAC enclosure, and it might be problematic in keeping, if you have 10 people in there and flat screen TV, it might get uncomfortable quickly. This also, the table also includes at the end of the wall, it includes a flat screen TV so that we could have video, easily access video from FaceTime or whatever kind of video conferences we wanted to.
I have a question for the conference table, is there? You look at a wall there. If that's.
Which wall?
The door, but
That's the existing door to the office, so that'd be closed. That,
That's
that's what I posited last meeting, is basically that door becomes permanently locked, correct?
well, the other thought too
no, that's
was,
inside.
no, the other thought was that we
Yeah.
could
Oh, sorry, I'm looking at a different.
That's
plan.
an electronic lock.
I have plan number 2. Got plan number 4.
Okay.
My fault.
That's an electronic lock, because that would be public access, and you wouldn't want them, anyone to be able to, right, you wouldn't want that to be possible. So. So that would be an electronic lock. And the current access door could also be electronically locked, so that, yes, you could use that as an access point, or you can close it off.
So if the city assistant or the city administrator, when I'm coming over and talk to these people, they would go through that door with the electronic lock, is that it?
Run there by me again.
You would come out into this area where the copier is and walk over to the store that has the electronic lock.
If you wanted to go out physically, be face to face with them, yeah, you would have a key card. And you could unlock that door and walk out. On the other hand, this area between here is a window. And you would be able to see and talk to, just, it's like a bank or, Chesterfield Police Station has a window like that with a slide through tray.
I was just wondering, if someone might want to come and talk to Brad might want to talk to them, he would let them in to talk to the conference table.
Right,
I just want to make sure.
yeah,
that's-
no, the access could be allowed by anyone in the office, but no one coming into the office, into this public area could gain unauthorized access. And the doors that would be necessary in here actually are downstairs in the basement. And the building management folks said we were welcome to utilize them. They fit the spaces that are currently door frames, and so we'd be picking up basically free material.
Those are modifiable with the electronic lock.
Yes.
Well, why don't you put it out on bid and let's see what the bids come out as, and then we can vote.
Okay. Does anybody, and anyone who has anyone they wish to nominate or contact us for any interest, Brad's got a sheet with all the information that they would need to put a bid together, and we'll go from there. They would need insurance. We would require proof of insurance before even before they bid on it.
Are we not advertised by public, like whether it's the same as the county and public notices go there. But the website,
Yeah, typically, these projects are advertised in a newspaper, so anyone can bid on it.
the.
And just
But
looking at the scope, in my opinion, I think you're gonna get numbers between 40 and 70,000. It'll be in that range somewhere. It's not gonna be 6,000, it's not gonna be 200,000. That's a pretty good ballpark of where they'll probably come in.
not for all men, or but it's a
Dominate, per se.
not nominated, say, hey. Show a contractor, you can apply.
Yeah.
Submit a bid, not like, hey, this guy, good, okay.
And anybody who comes in to bid would be supplied with the same set of criteria. We need this, 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 and this, and give us your bid. And again, they have to be insured, a licensed contractor, et cetera. So Brad would be able to identify the necessary qualifications in that regard, but yeah, if anybody's got somebody they want to recommend.
Who's, it's Brad, and together the bid specifications, because contractors are not gonna know exactly what are the
I
specifications.
think you've already got that, right?
Yeah, that for Brad,
We're very close, yeah.
okay,
But we'll have a stack of bid documents
Okay.
downstairs for anyone to come in off the street and take. And, work up a bid on.
post this on the website as well. Is that normal?
It's up to you.
Okay, yeah, so I can work with you on. Would we have like an electronic copy of the bid stack as well?
Yeah, yeah,
You know, I can work with you on getting that all set up.
okay.
And I guess we wanna pick a plan. We realize we're actually looking at 3 different plans right now. So if we're gonna ask
Essentially-
for a bid, you gotta ask. for a plan.
And essentially, each plan, all the plans are structurally the same. There's really no deviation between plan 1, 2, 3, or 4 that I'm aware of.
The only difference is the meeting table.
Yeah, it's a matter of
One
moving
of
the
them has
furniture.
it this way, the other one.
You know, do we want 2 chairs here? Do we want 1 chair here? We're gonna put the refrigerator here, storage racks there. But I think this would really improve the environment that our staff works in. And most importantly, it provides them with a much greater sense of security. And in this day and age, I think that's paramount.
And you won't be locked into this plan either. Even if, once you hire somebody, you can always do change orders and say, hey, do a little change here, a little change here.
Yeah, for instance, like right now, there is no window indicated between the city assistant's office and the city administrator's office, and that might be a really good thing. So that's something that could be discussed, added, changed going forward. So. So thoughts? We good going on to bid?
That's, yeah, I thought we agreed about it.
Okay, so we need a motion in a second, please.
Or made a motion, but never
Right.
seconded.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Brad, I will work with you. Rob, work with you, getting stuff posted on the web. Okay, I think that's good. Then we need to swear in some newly elected representatives. Brock, Jeff, Lynn. My resident attorney can,
Apparently, there was a city forum that Michelle always reads over the years, but we don't have access to it, so,
I can find it probably,
but I mean.
I don't have it now.
There is no hard and fast, but state statute, very constitution says that you shall. You know, take the oath of office. Then you, but there's nothing in writing anywhere that says what the oath has to say, other than it shall faithfully to yourself in office. So. If you want me to do the oath, I will. Stand, raise your right hand. I guess, I'll go back there. I state your name. Then again, so everybody's saying that you shall follow the Missouri Constitution. Follow the Missouri Constitution. Support the Constitution of the United States.
Support the Constitution of the United States.
Follow and adhere to all the code of ordinances adopted by the city of Clarkson Valley. Along the ordinances adopted by the city of Clarkson Valley. And should otherwise faithfully be redeemed, demean myself in office. That phrase is in the statute. Okay, congratulations.
excellent.
Yeah.
2 more years, great guys, thank you. All right, next, we need to elect a board president. I have asked Lynn, since he's done a good job, if he would be willing to do this again. If someone has another individual,
Motion for them to be president or Aldermen.
I second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes, welcome, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Congratulations, or good luck. I read
Good luck.
that.
Good luck.
Okay, New board members, Val Denton, Rick Hartwig, and one of our personal estates neighbors, Rick Bedush, are willing, and John Mayberger, who we're reappointing. But Val, Greg, and Rick are willing to step up and fill vacancies on the planning and zoning and board of adjustments. And so essentially, I just need a motion and a second to discuss and vote on approval.
Which are they on?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Confused
you
now.
use,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Confused too.
Yeah,
Cause I was
sorry.
gonna say, I think, so right now, Valerie's on. I'm sorry, did you say Valerie's filling a vacancy?
Yes.
Yeah. So
So
on
we have two
the,
vacancies on Board of Adjustment.
on the planning and zoning board, we will now have Steve Howard, Dave Brable, Rick Baduka, Carl Husey, Honora, you're an annual member. Do we need to reappoint him this year? Okay. Joe Mayberger and Greg Harding, sorry. And on the board of adjustment, we will have Tally, Dave Grable, Tom Berkeley, Dick Ulrich, Doc Schneider, and Val Denton, Joe Mayberger, and Rick Baduka will serve as alternates. Any questions?
Well, you said a
Yeah,
name,
that's
figured it out. You said a name that's
Yeah.
not currently on the trustee Board of Adjustment. It was one of the last like 3 or 4, you said.
Rick Baduka?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the gentleman that I asked that we amend the agenda to include.
Oh, sorry, I thought that was that.
Well, I'm sorry, I misspelled his name, yes. It is Baduka. His wife's name, yes, Baduka, I'm sorry. Yes, V is in Victor, V is in Victor, A is in Alpha, D is in Delta, uniform, K is in Kilo, A is in Alpha.
After we approve appointing all of these members, including the Nora, motion.
yes. As long as we all understand what boards each person's gonna serve on. I think, and is,
If it's what we discussed earlier, yes, I know which ones they are.
Sorry, and I was trying to get this together just a bit before the meeting, so I didn't have time to write them.
so John's been reappointed to planning and zoning.
Joe.
Oh, Joe, oh, this is
Yeah.
the wrong,
Yeah.
okay. Joe is being reappointed to planning and zoning. Lee, Valerie is being appointed to board of adjustment. Greg is going to board of adjustments.
Well, Val is BOA alternate,
Correct.
okay, and Greg is going to P and Z as a regular seated member, sorry. And Rick is also an alternate
For what? Board of adjustment.
for Board of Adjustment, yep.
There,
And John Mayberger will be reappointed to planning and zoning as a regular seated member. Jeremy, I'm sorry. I heard his name mentioned several times as Joe and John, so
That's true.
I'm not certain, is it Joe?
It's Joe.
Okay. Thank you. And then Nora, you will be reappointed again if you're willing to. Okay,
but that would be 6 people. I think, so. I thought it would make 5.
planning and zoning. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. Planning and zoning, I was told we need 7 members. Michelle told me we need 7 members, no alternates.
Although we've always been short.
Yes,
Okay.
so we will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then Board of Adjustment, we need 5 members
And
and
3
3 alternates, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3 alternates. Whoa. We have all of them filled.
We've never had them all filled.
Hey, okay, so, motion and a second to approve the appointments, discuss.
I think. Andrew will take care of that.
What's
Motion to approve the appointments.
I make the motion?
No, you, the names, the motion,
Oh, yes, yes.
motion.
I make a motion that we approve the board members to Board of Adjustment and Planning. Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. We have a full quota. Then. Okay, audit. Unfortunately, there is no audit for tonight. We'll get this to you as soon as possible. I do need a motion and a second to authorize me to write checks for bills that we currently have. Coming in, I can write the checks, so I'll do that tomorrow or go over it with Andy. So I need a motion and a second to authorize me to do that.
Normally you send it out to us for approval if we don't vote on it at the meeting. You can send it out on the email and we can approve it.
Okay, but what's the difference between doing it now?
Because we don't know what they are.
Well, we're talking, okay, but we're talking about the monthly, you know, the police.
Well, I think
Trash.
you could put together a list
Yeah.
tomorrow. So, subject to receiving the list, you'll let any objections. You authorize to pay some final, because I would think that the final, be brought back next month, with final ratification. To make it official.
Yeah,
Oh, because we had usually done it on the email
Yeah, we can
and
send
it
out,
wasn't a problem, yeah.
so how do you want to do it? This,
well, Bill have her do a list. Send it out tomorrow, and then. Then approve. But then you can't vote outside the meeting, so you're authorizing the mayor, once you get emails, to sign the checks. But then the official ought to be brought in next month for ratification of the checks signed and voted. After the approval.
is there a way to, sorry, authorize approval to do that now with the thought that once we get the list, if there's an objection?
No, well,
No?
I'm not gonna approve anything I don't see. You know, I wanna see what they are.
they're authorizing you to sign the checks, once they see the list, they say it's okay,
Okay,
then
That's
ratify it next meeting. Then
that's good. I just looking at trying to move things along, that's fine.
vote. Motion.
Motion and a second?
Motion, so, sign the check.
Have you received?
Yeah.
Right.
A motion that we will get a list of the
Yes.
bills and who you're paying tomorrow.
Yes.
And if we have an objection, we will let you know, otherwise if we approve it, then you can write out the checks.
Right.
I make the motion.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Carries, thank you. All right, does anybody have any miscellaneous items you wish to discuss?
I just had a question about the audit. Are we paying for the snow removal? Is that what some of the checks?
I'm not sure where the snow removal stands at this point.
I didn't see anything about snow removal.
I thought some of the bills were put through last month, but they said it fell within what the guidelines were.
Lynn and I, that was it. You and I talked about that briefly today.
Yeah.
We don't have it on the agenda and we don't have the amounts, but we have enough money to pay for everyone's snow removal at 100%. So I guess next month we'll hold on doing. it.
Okay, that's fine. I just wondered if it was on this month's, that's what I was wondering.
No, I didn't make the agenda, but we did talk about it.
Okay,
Okay, is that closes the miscellaneous part, I need a motion to go into closed meeting. Greg, I think you like to do this, so have at it.
I make a motion to close this portion of the regular of the Board of Aldermen to enter the closed hearing, the clerk and authorized to the private statutes of the state of Missouri 610.021. Which authorizes the public government body to meeting in order to discuss topics related to certain matters. This instance, section 610.021, paragraph 3, pertaining to the discussion of personnel matters.
Do we have a second?
A second that.
This requires a roll call.
All roll.
Howard
Yes,
Schiller, Lynn McGett.
Yeah.
Sue McNamara,
Yes.
Brock McDonald,
No, she doesn't vote.
Yeah,
Roll
like-
call.
Joanne Collins, sorry.
Yeah.
Jeff Swag, Greg Bagosian.
All right,
We have.
Yeah. All right. I declare the meeting closed. Pat and I don't get to do anything. We just sit
Certainly,
there.
Not even say on there. Right.
All right, thanks, Brad. I'll be in touch. Thanks, Chris.
How long?
Does that mean this-
Normally I
Do we need it?
I believe so. This goes off, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep, that goes off. Brock,